Here's the seat taken.
We've removed the seat out of an 02 Mazda Miata, and the gentleman that drives this car is on the taller side, and he's asked that we do what we call a foamectomy. So we're going to take approximately an inch out of the base of the seat from the foam. So we're going to start by flipping the seat over. We're going to cut the hog rings, those are the bits that hold the upholstery to the metal base of the seat. We're going to chop those off, peel the seat cover back, and then we're going to remove some foam. So let's begin. So you'll need a pair of side cutters, and the side cutters will cut these rings here. Eye protection is a good idea for this, just in case one of these things gets loose. And try to, if you're doing this on your lawn like we are right here, you want to try to make sure you don't lose any of these bits, because you don't want them to get into the lawnmower. So we've got ourselves a little tray here. Okay, one more hiding there. I think we're going to have to pull the seat rails off, but we're going to see how we do first. Let's see if we can do it without. Doubled that one. Okay, yeah, so seat rails are going to have to come off. So these are 12mm bolts underneath here. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to recline or slide these back just a little bit more all the way. That way we can easily get on it. Back ones, we just go in reverse. And on the side on this seat, we have to undo these ones as well. We can just lay that down there. That should do it. We don't. Well, that one's loose anyway. Let's do that one too. On this side, it's actually hooked in. It's hooked right onto there. So you just want to pull it, stretch it off, and just away from there. Okay, that one will leave because we've got this assembly still on here. I'm hoping to do this without removing all of that. We've got our hog rings cut off, So now we can peel this back a bit and we can look underneath. What we basically are going to do here is we're going to carve out this part of the foam in this area. So we can do that without affecting any of the other stuff on the seat. So we should be able to pull this back, and then we should have access to this so that we can, you know, we can carve that up. Let's just get the seat off of there. Ow. Wear gloves, because it's kind of sharp in there. There we go. It's kind of all stuck together. So now that we've done that, we can see exactly what we want to do. And that's just basically take about that much of the foam out of this bottom piece. And that way we can do it and the seat will go back together the way it was before and nobody will ever know. So let's get ourselves a nice big knife. Okay, so we've borrowed a knife out of the wifey's kitchen. And we've marked where we're going to cut this. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut above the line here. And we're just going to kind of saw this off and see how this knife does for us here. That way we're not going to take too much off at once, right? A serrated knife may be a better choice for this, but once you get into the foam, it works pretty good. There are proper tools for doing this type of thing, but we don't happen to have them, so we're just going to do this. Actually, I'm going to try a different knife with a serrated edge on it. Let's just see if this one's any better. Nope. Actually, maybe this is okay. Alright. You ready? There we go, that worked a little bit better. So let's just let that go for a sec. So you can tell we're definitely making a difference there. But we want to try to, you kind of got to angle the knife down in order to get a cut. It's not just as easy as going this straight. You kind of got to angle it down first to get in, and then saw away at it to get a nice cut like that. And watch you don't chop your hand off in the process. There we go. I like that. That's way better. So you're going to angle down, get a flap, and then Okay, so I think the front's kind of where we want it. And by the way, be very careful you don't poke the upholstery with the knife while you're standing back and looking at it, because it's very easily done. Okay. So now let's just take a look. Yeah, we've still got to get that very back piece a little bit more out of there. But we can do that. For this part, it's hard to reach, so we should be able to just poke the knife in and just cut like that, just like a loaf of bread, a very sticky loaf of bread. Last little bit's a little tricky, but we can just tear it. We've got the cut where we want it. So, okay, let's put that down now and have a look. I think we've got enough foam out there to make a difference in how the seat feels. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to put the seat down. We'll recline it back. See that, and just see how that feels. See if we can feel the difference in the height of the seat. Yeah, we've got it. We've got it right in the spot where we needed it, right where your bones of your bum dig in. So we've definitely taken about that much out of the seat, approximately. And I think we've got a winner. So we go slow. We'll try it this way. If we need to take a little bit more, we can. But you don't want to take too much out and then have to replace the whole thing if you take too much to start with. So there we are. We've got the correct amount of foam out for what we were trying to achieve. We've got a little pile of foam bits here that we've cut out. So it's not a great deal of foam, but it's going to be enough to make the seat more usable for a guy that's longer in the torso or on the taller side. We have now removed as much foam as we decided we needed to. So you can see our line. We've kind of sawed at it with this knife here, and done a pretty good job considering we don't have the proper foam cutting tools, but so that's good. What we're going to do now is reattach the foam seat base to the frame, and we're just going to stretch that lip just over there, like that. There we are. Get it pat down. And when you look into these holes, you can see how much we've actually removed. Before, it was down all the way to the holes and just a tiny bit poking through the bottom. So now that we've got that reattached, what we shall do next is we're just going to clip this guy back on so that we don't forget. That's the first order of business. Then I think what we should also do is, actually, before we put this rail actually bolts on and this in two places, but what we'll do is instead of using hog rings, we're going to use zap straps to reattach all of this stuff. And that'll make our life a lot easier, and also zap straps don't rust. So we'll just go get some zap straps and we'll reattach that, put it all back together, pop it in the car and see how it works. We've tracked down some zap straps, and what we're going to do is zap strap this back on like that. And we'll go around afterwards and we'll cut all these ends off so that's a nice clean job. Tuck that underneath there. And feed that through there and through there. Like that. Oops. Turn it around. We've got all of our zap straps back on here. Everything looks good. We've double checked to make sure we haven't missed anything. So now what I want to do, now that they're tight, just double check them before we clip them. And we clip them right there. Okay, now we're gonna reattach the rails, and we want to get these two 12mm bolts into the side here first. These are the ones that hold the seat belt receptacle to the rail assembly. So there we are. We've got those in there, just finger tight. Now we're gonna. Right, now we'll move over to this side. Make sure that it all feels the way it should. And these are 12mm bolts also. Thread. We've got basically now what we're doing is replacing the bolts here, putting those back in. So we've got those two in, and we'll leave them just snug for now, and until we get them all in, and we'll make sure everything lines up just right. Then we'll go around and tighten them all up. Yeah, that one doesn't want to go in quite straight, so let's and to push this down, if you can't do it, you just gotta basically pull the lever, and that activates this lever here and just takes the teeth out of these rails. That's what locks it into place. Okay, so that one's good. That's threading up nicely. By threading them by hand, you don't run the risk of cross-threading them. So when you go slow and steady, you don't have problems with stuff not lining up. Just want to back that one off a bit, because I need a little bit more. It's not lined up quite right. Yeah, this one's just a little bit off. It just needs to, there we go. Just needs to come that way a little bit. There we go. Perfect. So we just took the pressure, we just pulled this back a bit to get that hole to line up. Now it's in. Now we don't want to over torque them, just snug them down. I'll go around with a socket afterwards and just make sure. We're just basically just snugging them up with this one just to make our lives easier. There we go. Those are nice and tight. And now what we need to do is we need to align these rails. So I think what we'll do is we'll pull them forward. Actually, yeah, we'll pull them forward and get them to click in. There goes one. Of course, they want to move as soon as you. There we go. Okay, so now they're both in the exact same position. So when we go to put it in the car, these two spikes will line up with their corresponding holes in the frame of the car. And it'll just make it so much easier to get it to pop in there first time. And what you can do is take a bit of the old foam. Now you've got the bolts out. Let's get that clean. A successful foamectomy, and everything buttoned up just right along here with the zap straps. Easy to replace if you need to as well. Little less harsh on the materials as well because it's wider, and that's a seamless job. Everything's back up. We've double checked all our bolts, and that seat is now ready for reinstallation into the car whenever you've cleaned it up or whatever you want to do next.